Welcome to Small Business Celebration. We're continuing our series on small business sustainability. And our guest this week, well, he's going to guide us to help us grow our business by lots and lots. This is Small Business Celebration. Welcome, where we're celebrating small businesses for big breakthroughs. Welcome to Small Business Celebration, where we're celebrating the breakthroughs of small businesses so that you can have the breakthrough your business needs. And our guest this week is Michael Grigg, the owner of Elite Auctions. Welcome to Small Business Celebration.
Well, thank you for having me, and I'm glad to be here and share my business journey.
And for visionaries who don't know who you are, who are you and what is it that you do?
My name's Michael Grigg. I'm a professional auctioneer. I own Elite Auctions and Fundraising Services. We specialize in fundraising auction events. So getting on stage, doing the chant, that's what most people see, but there's all the behind the scenes stuff, the fundraising part of it, that we provide fundraising consulting for different nonprofits and schools so that their event can be the best that it can be.
One of the reasons we're talking with Michael today is because, I've gotten this question just about every time I've worked backstage or I've done lighting for an event, with people asking, can you actually make a living doing auctioning, being an auctioneer? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
You can.
Absolutely.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this since 2002.
All right, so if I take my shoes off and I calculate this out, this is how many years?
21 years now.
Oh, so you're just getting started.
Just getting started. Always learning.
But you weren't always in the auction business.
I was not.
The first thing you sold were?
Candy bars. For school, when I was like in elementary school.
Okay, all right. What kind of candy bars?
Oh, all the flavors. We had the peanut.
Right.
We had the just plain chocolate. We had the caramel, my favorite one.
Right.
And you go door to door, and we had to raise funds for the schools. I think everybody out there's probably done this at some point,
sure.
at least in my age group.
Right. Your dad, what was he doing at the time?
My dad was here. He was a pest control advisor for different farmers.
Okay.
And then he was investing in real estate as well. Him and my mom were buying a house or two a year and renting them out.
But he was the first one to get into auctions, was he not?
He was. He attended a real estate auction in his own neighborhood.
Okay.
And his perception, I should say, of a real estate auction was, I'm going to go get a deal. Right. And as an investor, that's tempting.
That's what you want, yes. Right.
So he goes there. He has his deposit check. You have to bring a certain amount of money. And he's sitting there, and the bid just starts going up and up and up beyond what he thought the house was even worth.
Right.
And he said, wait a minute, maybe I should be selling my properties this way instead of buying stuff this way.
Right.
It was a retail auction. There are wholesale type auctions, but this happened to be on the front lawn of the homes.
And then, at some point, you started getting interested in auctions.
Yes.
What happened?
Well, my dad came home after that auction that we were talking about, and he said, you know what, I think I want to start a real estate auction company, but I really don't want to go get my broker's license. He liked kind of being in the background there. And he's like, I'm not really excited about getting up in front of a bunch of people as an auctioneer. And I said, you know what, I'll do both those things and I'll work with you because they both sound interesting to me. Right. Especially the auctioneer side of it.
Sure.
I had no background in auctioning, or it wasn't like a family tradition or anything like that, like some of these auctioneers that I've met over the years.
Fourth and fifth
generation.
Exactly.
Great-grandpa started the company.
And they can tell you which gene of cattle it was back in 1943 it comes from. Exactly.
I have no idea about that stuff.
But you started getting interested in this whole auction business. Mm-hmm. But what was the tipping point, or what was the breakthrough that you had that said, yeah, I want to do that?
I went and attended one from this company that had sold this other house.
Right.
And I said, wow, that is there's something magical about the way the auctioneer is able to get people to basically give money in that quick amount of time. I mean, it's like 5 minutes for a real estate auction. It's done, if that.
Right.
And you're selling, a $500,000 house plus, or even higher. And I just was amazed with how people react when it's like, okay, you have to make your decision. You're either bidding or you're out.
Right.
And that competition starts flowing. The psychology of it was just fascinating to me. And I said, I want to be that guy that's getting people to give money.
Nice.
That just looked so fun.
And then?
And then I went to auction school.
Okay.
And there happened to be one in town.
Okay.
It no longer exists to this day.
Okay.
But it was taught by a local auctioneer,
Right.
world champion cattle auctioneer. He brought in other.
What was his name?
Jim Pennington.
Okay, Jim Pennington.
Yep. He's still in town. Him and his son run a auto auction place out at the where they do wholesale auctions and sell to the public. They're a great family. I know his son well too. He's referred me stuff over the years.
Right.
Good guy, good company. It was just fascinating that whole week. It's a week-long intensive course with just one-on-one with the instructors, and they get you up on a microphone the first night. Say, do
Wow.
your best auction chant, and you're just terrified.
And how does that work?
There's all these filler words, right, that you put together.
Right.
So you might be selling, you'll be like, I'm bidding 100, I'll bet it on 200, I'll bet it on 300, I'll bet it on 400, now 500, I'll bet it on 600, I'll bet it on that.
Okay.
So you're going with the chant, and it's all about learning these filler words and then developing your own style. Every auctioneer sounds a little different, but also the same.
Okay.
So the filler words are just real simple. It's I'm bid $1.
Right.
Now 2. Now you're asking for 2, and you just repeat that. Then you get your bid.
Okay.
I bid $2. Now 3. Now 3. Now $3 bidder.
Okay.
And,
all right.
and so on, and then that turns into I bid $1 bidder on 2. Now 2. Now $2 bidder on 3. Now 3. Now $3 bidder on 4. Now 4. Now $4 bidder on 4. Now 4.
Oh, okay.
And then you do the going once, going twice.
Sure. Right.
Of course.
There you go. And you started auctioning off property and real estate like your father.
Uh-huh.
But you decided at some point that, yeah, there's something else more fun.
I met another auctioneer that had me come out to Pasadena. He was selling for Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
And it was an TV show. They
All
were
the
selling
props and all that, sure,
costumes.
right,
They had
yeah,
the
yeah.
stars there. It was like the ultimate fan experience.
Right, right.
He said, come on out and meet me. I'm doing fundraisers. I know you've been doing real estate auctions for several years. I'd like to learn more about real estate auctions.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? I'd like to learn more about fundraisers. What is this all about? So I go down there to meet them, and they're selling all day. It's like, 2,000 lots a day. And there's 2 auctioneers. There's a backup auctioneer to this guy.
Right.
And they're not real happy with this backup auctioneer. He's not like flowing because there's online bidding and in conjunction with the bidding that's happening on the floor.
You're having to use both sides of the brain
Yes.
when you're doing that. That's not
Totally.
easy. That's not the easiest thing in the world.
You can't teach it. It's
Oh,
something
okay.
that you either have or you don't.
And
you
that-
can teach the chant. but
Right.
You can't teach the other stuff.
But that day, you had it.
That day I had it. And they said, you know what? You're an auctioneer, right? And I said, yeah. And they said, why don't you get up on stage and sell 20 items? We just want to see how you look.
Right.
So I get up there. Literally on item 15, somebody comes up with a note that says, you're hired. And they let go of the guy. They fired the other auctioneer that day. And the rest is history with that guy.
And how did you get into the nonprofit world? Because the profit world is a very different world than
yeah.
the nonprofit world.
Oh, yeah. So after that meeting with this fundraiser, he was a fundraising auctioneer. He was a news anchor actually in San Diego.
Okay.
I always think Ron Burgundy when I tell this story.
Okay, right, sure.
So he was doing a lot of fundraisers, and he was doing so much that he had more business than he knew what to do with at the time. San Diego is like a mecca for fundraising events.
Sure.
He hires me to come down and do events that he can't do because he's already booked.
Right.
And I just fell in love. The first event I did some here in Bakersfield.
Uh-huh.
And the first event I did down in San Diego, I just fell in love. I'm like, you can get paid to do this. This is so fun.
Sure,
People
sure.
are laughing. They're having a good time. It's a totally different experience than selling real estate.
Right.
And I fell in love with it. And
So you did the Battlestar Galactica auction, and poor guy got fired. But, it led to
Yeah.
your career.
I don't think he really cared. He was like, this is not for me. I'm out of here. It's not my
Sure,
style.
right.
He was not sour grapes at all
No,
about it.
there you go. But you brought this back to Bakersfield, and you've been able to develop this business. And it's one of those kind of things where people sometimes think, well, it's a very niche business, a very niche thing that you do. It'll never fly in Bakersfield.
Oh, I heard that so many times.
Yeah.
People are not going to pay you to go to be an auctioneer.
Right.
There's news anchors for that, and people that come in for free.
Right.
And I said, well, I'm going to try it anyway, because I think that there's money being left on the table by not having a professional auctioneer up there. Number
Right.
one, that's where I started in my head. Then with training and meeting other auctioneers, it took a whole another level. I mean, it
Right.
went to a whole nother level.
And now you do a lot here in Bakersfield, but you also do a fair amount down in LA, in
Yeah.
Orange County, and other places as well. Where does this business take you?
The furthest from here, I've been asked by a client that I worked in Orange County with to go out to Washington, D.C. They flew me out there to do an event. They wanted to get in front of the political spectrum.
Right.
It was a, trying to prevent trafficking organization. It was perfectly suited for it. So it's taken me all the way to Washington, D.C., which I hate to admit, I'd never been there. And this was a few years back. So I crammed all this stuff into this trip.
Right. You got to go see the Washington Monument.
Exactly.
You've got to see the Lincoln Memorial.
Exactly.
Sure, right. Well, if visionaries want to learn more about you and the services that you provide, how do they get in touch with you?
The best way to get in touch with me is to go to our website, which is elitefundraisingauctions.com. We have a YouTube page. You can watch a ton of auctions and funded needs, which we'll talk about in a little bit if you want to go down that alley. Also, my phone number, 661-978-3407, or my email, mike@elitefundraisingauctions.com.
And when we come back, we're going to talk about the breakthrough that radically changed Mike's business. And we're also going to talk about how do you find the right nonprofit to partner with for your business so that you can have a profitable business and do good in the community. We'll come right back. The winter season is rapidly approaching, but are the tires on your car or truck ready for wet weather? Bakersfield's best tire store, Cleroux Tire, has been serving families like yours for 80 years and installs and services the tires your family depends on when the wet weather comes. Give Cleroux Tire a call at 661-324-6069 and ask them about what tire works best for you and your budget. Call Cleroux Tire at 661-324-6069 or visit them at 530 East 21st Street in Bakersfield or at ClerouxTire.com today. The wet winter weather is rapidly approaching. Call Cleroux Tire at 661-324-6069 today. I'm here with Michael Grigg, the owner of Elite Auctions, and our visionary question comes from James, who asks, we want to give back to our community and elevate our business's profile. What are some of the best ways to profit with a nonprofit?
I think this question has a few different avenues you could go down. I'm going to stick with the simple stuff.
Okay.
I think partnering with a nonprofit is one of the best things you can do for your business.
Why is that?
I think that it shows that you have a heart. You probably do have a heart, but people don't know that.
The public doesn't see it.
The public doesn't see it. They see you as the business guy, the dentist, or the guy out there doing whatever, or the girl out there doing whatever she can to survive. They're not seeing your personality, your heart. The organization that you back kind of shows that. So you can do that through sponsoring, especially events, especially in Bakersfield.
Right.
There's a lot of people that go to these events.
Sure.
And they love going to the events. And you're going to have your name up there as the presenting sponsor or the gold sponsor. And people are going to say, hey, I've heard of that company. Maybe I should go in there and try that sandwich at that restaurant or whatever business you run. I think the other thing to do is to bring a unique live auction item to the table so that people also can hear your name and you again as the donor for this wonderful auction item. Hey, we've got a great trip to the Central Coast, a fishing. Hey, I've got a fishing boat. Let's take some.
But it's more than that, though.
It's more
because everybody donates wine.
Yes.
Everybody donates the DeWalt, whatever it is. Yeah. You know, everybody wants to donate a trip, but does it work better if you say, okay, you're donating a trip on a King Air with a politician for 2 hours?
I think it definitely has more clout.
Sure. Right, sure.
I think they're
or
kind
a movie star or somebody of significance.
They're in the same category, but you want your item to be in the live auction. There's a silent auction.
Right.
And then there's a live auction. The silent auction is for that DeWalt tool set or the oil changes or I would not recommend doing oil changes, but I'm just saying, we have done many of them.
We're talking about train wrecks, right? Things that don't work.
Things that don't sell. Sometimes they get put in the silent auction. They don't even get bids there.
Right.
But if you have a headlining item, something that organization can use to market their event, it's so great.
Okay.
Now you're out there in their marketing as well. Not only as a sponsor, but you've got that other angle. I think being a lead gift in the Fund a Need, which I think we'll talk about a little bit later.
Well, it is Fund a Need.
Fund a Need is where it's another element. It's another fundraising piece of the pie that's done at the event outside of the live auction, the silent raffles, all that fun stuff. It's where people in the audience have an opportunity to give a gift that's meaningful to them, meaning donating money at different levels. So we usually start high and work our way down, and we have about 5 or 6 levels.
So this is something that if you have XYZ organization and they have all these programs that they do, but this is something that you zero in specifically to fund that particular program or product or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Okay.
For example, if you're at a school auction and the school needs a track.
Okay.
Our goal here with the Fund a Need, all the funds that we raise in this segment of the evening is going directly to that track.
This all sounds like the advice that you give to the fundraiser or the nonprofit themselves. There's more to it than that. You gotta somehow have a process to make this event profitable somehow. Weird that. So what's your involvement with that?
This is when you hire a fundraising professional to come in. This is where we come in. So everyone views me as an auctioneer, which is great. I love having that as hey, this guy's the auctioneer. But what we do is fundraising consulting. And we like to get in 6 to 12 months before an event starts and work with the board through anything fundraising related. I'm not the guy you want to call for which napkin color to put on the table. I'm totally down to be a taste tester if we're going to do that. If you ever need a taste tester.
17 different types of chocolate. You're there.
I'm there. If you need an opinion on food, I will be there. But these are elements that need to be put together and well placed. Like the backbone of the event, once you have your audience set, the backbone of the event is the timeline. There's a definite science to doing things at the right time during the event. I mean, we always say every minute is a fundraising minute at an event. It is a fundraiser. We're there to raise money, but the word fun is in fundraising. So you want to have fun doing it. And if you can theme your event, it can set it apart from other events. A lot of organizations do the same theme every year. Some switch it up. People like to get dressed up and go do something fun, so make it fun for them.
The thing about fundraising auctions, though, is it's only 6 months out of the year. You've got it in the spring, you've got it in the fall, and that's not necessarily... How do you figure out the finances on that?
It's tricky because you get paid 6 months out of the year. You're working the full year because of all the consulting that's done, but I don't get paid until the event's done.
But there was a shift in your business.
Yeah.
Or this is the epiphany that said, okay, I can do this for 6 months, but I got to figure something out.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, when did that come about, and then how'd you overcome this or figure this out?
Well, to be honest, the way it started is I was doing the real estate auctions, and then this was kind of the side business.
Okay.
And the real estate auctions and real estate in general, I was a broker and licensed broker, still am, and still would do some real estate deals, just not on the same level I was doing. This kind of took over, and it became kind of like, this is the focus now. The real estate became kind of the side business. And I enjoyed doing this a lot more. But then this other epiphany hit me that, hey, there's other types of auctions out there. And I can get up in front and chant and sell different things. And that's when I started doing some contract auctioneer work. It may be in the summer when I'm not working so hard with the actual fundraising event.
So you're able to go through and auction off other things?
Yes.
Like Battlestar Galactica stuff?
Like Battlestar Galactica. That was the first one.
When we come back, we're going to talk about how do you make your fundraiser unlike and different than every other fundraiser on the planet you've ever been to. And we're also going to talk about how the fundraising business has changed Michael when we come right back. The reason we're able to talk with Michael Grigg, the owner of Elite Auctions, is because of the financial support that comes from visionaries just like you through our Patreon page. Simply go to patreon.com/small business celebration and get the bonus material your business deserves so that you can have the breakthrough your business needs. Simply go to patreon.com/small business celebration, join one of our tiers, and become a Patreon member today. I'm here with Michael Grigg, the owner of Elite Auctions, and our visionary question comes from Michelle, who asks, it seems like every nonprofit fundraiser auction is the same. How do we avoid the same nonprofit auction as everybody else?
That's a really good question.
I'm sure this is not the first time you've been asked.
No, not at all. And that's probably one of the number one questions that gets asked to me. How can we be different?
Right.
Well, the number one thing, a totally biased answer here, is you have to have a professional fundraising auctioneer. And when I say professional fundraising auctioneer, because there's a lot of different auctioneers that sell all different stuff.
Right.
A livestock auctioneer might not necessarily be your best bet.
Right.
Their chant is amazing. Probably some of the best auctioneers in the country,
right.
As far as an auctioneer view goes. But somebody that's had a few cocktails and never been to an auction before, trying to understand what the heck they're saying,
suddenly,
not the best fit.
Suddenly everybody becomes cattle.
Yes. Yes. So you need to have a professional fundraising auctioneer.
Right.
My biggest competitor, everyone's like, well, aren't you nervous about other auctioneers? I said, no, my biggest competitor is the weather guy. That comes out for free. And most of them that I've talked to, they're great people.
Right.
They don't really like doing the auction. They're doing it because it's kind of their deed to the community or community service.
And how many times have you seen the weatherman or weatherwoman go up there to do the auction and have to be saved by somebody from the board to go up there and help them through the auction?
I personally have not seen a lot because usually I'm not at that event.
Right.
And I don't have time to go to events, unfortunately, because I'm at them.
That.
But I know people have told me horror stories.
Right.
And this is not like a jab at the weatherman or the volunteer auctioneer at all. They're doing the best that they can. They don't know any better.
Right.
But if you're going to have a professional fundraising event, have a professional on stage.
How does having you here, though, make it different? Because, I could go through and I could get, I could go ahead and get Nicole or somebody to be my, she's free. Let's use her.
Sure.
So, but what makes you different?
There is a stage presence, and I'm going strictly to the stage performance part on this, not to mention all the fundraising consulting that comes with the service. But there is a stage presence where we know it's instinctual. We've done many of them. How far we can push a bidder.
Yeah.
How far we can push them to where it doesn't become awkward, where we're not calling them out by name. Some people you can call out by name. Some people don't.
Right.
I've seen entire tables of people leave because they're offended by what somebody did on stage.
Right.
You have to know that, and you can't teach it. It's instinctual. And then having just a professional chant that you get through the auction, it's not torturous.
Right.
You need to have a professional chant, throw some jokes in there, keep it light, because remember, it's fun, right?
It's supposed to be a fun raiser. Right.
So have fun on stage with them, but you're getting the job done in the same thing. So there's something about running a stage professionally. It's like going to opera or something and watching a professional opera singer. Do you want to volunteer up there? You're going to pay to go see an opera?
Right.
Of course not.
Right.
It's like anything. You don't want the accountant working on your car. You want a professional mechanic. So that's the number one step. Have somebody that's going to be representing your organization as not only the auctioneer, but as an ambassador for your cause.
When you're not on stage or prepping, what do you do for fun?
I do something that most people would probably say is not so fun, and that's I like to cook.
Really? What do you like to cook?
Everything.
Okay.
I grew up in an Italian family. My mom's Italian, so I grew up eating Italian food, and as you know, Italians are obsessed with food.
Right.
And I developed this obsession. This was later in life. I didn't realize I enjoyed cooking until maybe I was 30 years old.
Right.
And I'm 42 now, and I was 30 back then, and I said, it was a release. You can be artistic.
Right.
It's an artistic release, plus you get to enjoy delicious food at the end of it, so it's a win-win for me.
And you've created a YouTube channel?
We've created a YouTube channel.
And what's the channel name?
It's Moby's Kitchen, M-O-B-I.
Okay.
'. It's my wife Bobby and my name combined.
Okay.
So we call it Moby's Kitchen.
And what do you like to cover and show on your channel?
We like to, the whole thing was created to not only to share recipes that people could get home and cook and do themselves, because I'm not like making bread or anything like that. But it was also created for my daughter in the future when I'm not around and I'm not here anymore. She can be like, man, I really want Dad's short ribs.
Right.
The recipe's on there. She can go look at it. So that's it was twofold to create it. There were so many things. I was always posting food pictures. I'm that guy.
Sure,
online.
You're that guy. Great. Yeah.
And everyone said, man, you need to show us the recipe. I'm like, I don't have recipes. I just cook. I throw stuff together.
Sure,
but so I said, well, let's make this more official, and I'll start doing that. And it's taken off. I started the channel in January, and We're over 500 subscribers now on YouTube at least. And,
Good.
And
Congratulations.
It's going well. It's slowly going.
Sure, right?
As you know, YouTube is a whole nother animal. So.
It is. It is. You've been doing this business for more than 20 years. And the person you are today is not the same person when you first started. How has that person changed?
You know what? When I first started, I didn't really value my services as much as I do now.
Right.
I've learned, I've educated myself, I've done so many events. I have more to offer now than when I started. When I started, to be honest with you, every auctioneer, whether they admit it or not, has a little bit of an ego and likes being up in front of people. Yeah. And that's kind of where I started in my head. This was fun. It was fun to be in control of those people in that moment, is the high you get off of that. Right. That blossomed into, I really want to help the nonprofits and the schools raise funds because they all have such a good cause.
At what point did that transition happen?
I'm going to say that I have to give 100% credit to one of my biggest mentor. Her name was Kathy Kingston. Unfortunately, she's no longer with us, but she really got me to come out of my shell and taught me I had more to offer than just you're an auctioneer on stage, you're an entertainer. That's a small piece of the pie. She said, you've got all this knowledge, your personality, you have all this, this experience that you can bring to your client on a whole nother level. And that's what started Fundraising Consulting. Before I'd just show up, they'd hand me a list of stuff and I'd sell it. She said, no, don't do that. You're going to look better if you train them properly and you get up on stage and you know exactly what's going to be sold, when it's going to be sold, how it's going to be done. And I went to many of her, I don't want to call them seminars. They were immersive. She would get right. She'd say, but what's the point? She'd get right in your face and make you feel so uncomfortable so that any meeting you went into after that, you were just ready to go. Right. And so I give her a lot of credit. She wrote a book. That's probably my favorite book.
What's the name of the book?
It's called A Higher Bid.
Okay.
And it's all about fundraising, auctions and events. And any nonprofit out there that's doing one should buy this book. You can buy it still to this day, I believe, on Amazon.
What makes you wake up every morning and open your business?
I think the root of that is I think of my wife and my daughter. Everything I do is for them. Everything ultimately is to give them both a better life. And that kind of motivates you. That gets you through the tough days. You have to think of the people that are important to you. But there's another side to that. I really love what I do. So I think if you're starting any business, that's the number one thing. If you don't love it, don't do it. You're going to get burned out at some point because there's so much. I would say there's 80% of a business that is not fun. Right. It's that 20% that gives you the motivation to continue. So.
Well, Mike, this has been a real privilege. Thank you for joining us here on Small Business Celebration.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure.
And if visionaries want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
I'm a big text and email guy.
Sure.
You're more than welcome to give me a phone call, but elitefundraisingauctions.com is a website. We have social media. We have Instagram, Facebook, all that fun stuff. We have a YouTube page also under the same business name. Okay. You can call me, 661-978-3407, or email me at mike@elitefundraisingauctions.com.
And if you enjoy Small Business Celebration, go ahead and like, subscribe, and notify, and we'll be right back with my final thought. The winter season is rapidly approaching, but are the tires on your car or truck ready for wet weather? Bakersfield's best tire store, Cleroux Tire, has been serving families like yours for 80 years and installs and services the tires your family depends on when the wet weather comes. Give Cleroux Tire a call at 661-324-6069 and ask them about what tire works best for you and your budget. Call Cleroux Tire at 661-324-6069 or visit them at 530 East 21st Street in Bakersfield or at ClerouxTire.com today. The wet winter weather is rapidly approaching. Call Cleroux Tire at 661-324-6069 today. Having the vision and celebrating the breakthroughs. Earlier today, I was talking with a visionaire, and she asked me, Michael, what does the future of Small Business Celebration look like? And before I could answer her, I came to a realization, and it's something that a lot of small business owners share, which is we know what the future of our businesses should look like. We know what we want to accomplish, we know what we want to do, we know where we want everything to go, and oftentimes by when we would like things to happen. The problem is, though, is that if we tell somebody what our vision is, they're gonna know. And to make matters worse, in 6 to 8, 9, 12 months from now, they're gonna ask. They're gonna say, so tell me, have you reached your goal yet? And that's scary. I mean, what if things don't go to plan? What if you don't accomplish things? What if life gets in the way? What then? What are you gonna say? Or what if you succeed? What if you win? So Small Business Celebration started very Bakersfield-centric, and it kind of eked out into the county a little bit. And then we've started to grow north. We've grown up into Fresno a bit. We've grown south of Valencia and Los Angeles. We're also growing westward to the coast. We're also talking with business owners whose main hub of business is in the Central Valley, but they've got customers in Tennessee and Texas and Kentucky, which is inevitably going to lead to us getting on an airplane and going to Ohio or Kansas or Florida. Because there's one thing that small business owners across America share. We have a vision. And on Small Business Celebration, we celebrate their breakthroughs. I hope you enjoyed our conversation this week with Michael Grigg, and I hope you learned something that you can use today to grow a strong and profitable business. And we'll see you here again next week when we celebrate another small business having a big breakthrough. By the way, why do auctioneers going once, going twice, sold?
You know, it's the best tool that I've found to spur on additional bidding. 9 times out of 10, somebody bids there because they're like, oh my God, I'm going to miss an opportunity. The whole thing is psychological. The whole chant is psychological, everything.
And all this time, I thought it was because they had a morbid curiosity.
That's good.
What do you need to know to be an auctioneer?
Well, number one, the most important thing is nothing. You need to know how to look people in the eye and talk fast. That's the root of it.
I thought you just needed to know lots. Sorry,
I
guys.
want to know how did you do auctioneer joke planning for this?
Well, you know, you got to do something to start off the credits. So
Yeah.
all right, shall we start?
Yes.
Okay.
On that note.
On that note, welcome to Small Business Celebration.